What's going on, everyone? This is David with All Beach Everything, giving you another playing tip to help you out with your beach game. And what I'm going to be covering today is the approach. And to help me illustrate this, I'm going to show you basically a textbook approach and jump from one of the best that we have in the game, that being Sean Rosenthal. And he's on the top screen here in the red shorts. And also to illustrate what you kind of shouldn't do or might fall victim to is on the very bottom we have another Sean, a Sean Scott, and I'm going to show you why his approach is not ideal, but luckily for a big athletic guy like him, he can kind of get away with it. But if you're a young developing player, if you're transitioning from the indoor to the beach, you definitely do not want to fall trap to these habits or these mistakes. So the biggest thing to look at right now is the length of the strides of the two players. Rosie on top, he takes much longer strides versus Scott on the bottom. And that's important because if you notice, Rosie, he's coming almost from the back line and he's covering a very large distance. But since he's doing it in very short steps, in very few steps, he's coming in with a lot more speed and hence a lot more energy and momentum. So as they go through a little bit more, he's taking much longer strides. Scott just kind of shuffling up there. And really the biggest component to your approach and what's really going to determine how explosive you are is your penultimate step. And if you're someone who's familiar with track and field, you've probably heard this term before. Basically what it is, it's the last closing step that you make before you take off. So, and what you're doing with the penultimate step is you're dropping your center of gravity down low. So you're dropping your hips, so that way you can take all the momentum that you've built up in your approach, much like in the long jump or here in the volleyball approach, and you're going to take it, convert it from horizontal momentum and convert it into vertical momentum, and you do that with your arm swing, and you basically take all that energy, it drives through your legs, up through your core, and all the way up to your upper body as you make your arm swing. So as you see, Rosie dropping his hips down really low, bending his knees, preparing for that takeoff. Whereas if you see Scott on the bottom here, he's mostly just kind of straight up and down, not really angled over in any way. You can kind of see that Rosie is kind of bracing for that impact off of his penultimate step. And as a result, Rosie, being the explosive player that he is, he strikes a AVP logo at the top of his swing. But I also want to go back and show on the very top just how straight up and down Rosie is with his jump. And this is very important because that means that no energy is wasted drifting forward. That means that he's really maximizing his vertical leap with this jump. See, it's basically straight up and down. That way he can hit the ball as high as possible, and that's why he's known as one of the best athletes and one of the best players on tour. So that's pretty much it. It's a short tutorial and there's not much to it. Long strides, come in fast on your approach. Make sure that you identify the set and the defense early. That way, as you come into your penultimate step and try and drive through and get as much energy going upwards as possible, you're going to have a nice, explosive, powerful hit. Alright, so if you want to get more tips, more videos like this, visit allbeacheverything.blogspot.com.